Good morning. Today we're going to be covering Chapter 6. We are going to work through the practice test, the part 2 that was due, that's for homework. Now, you don't want to just copy the problems here on YouTube. You want to be able to try them yourself and then make sure, come back and see if you don't get the correct answer or if you want to double check. If you just are copying the problems without trying it yourself, it's not going to help you at all. So take the time to work them out by yourself first. Then you can go ahead and watch me go through the process. Okay, so let's go and get started. On the first problem, I want to be able to solve for x. So first I'm going to go and draw the line. I want to get rid of the x cubed, but before I take the cube root, I want to be able to isolate. I want to be able to leave by itself the x cubed. So I'm going to divide by -2 on both sides. That will cancel. We have x to the third power is equal to -64. Now I can get rid of the cube by taking the cube root, just doing the inverse operation. I'm going to take the cube root on both sides. Because the cube root and the cube cancels each other, we have x is equal to the cube root of -64. I'm looking for a number that multiplied by itself 3 times is -64. And that'll be -4. And that'll be my answer. For problem number 2, on problem number 2, 3, and 4, we are dealing with fractional exponents or rational exponents, exponents that are fractions. When the exponent's outside the parentheses, we want to be able to multiply the exponents. The base will remain the same, so we have 27. 2 times 1 will be 2. 2 times 3 will be 6. We want to be able to reduce our fraction, so that gives me 27. Divide the top and the bottom by 2, so it gives you 1/3. You want to also be able to simplify by rewriting it as a radical. Radical 27. Remember, the denominator is the root. And to the power of 1, but we don't need to write it down, to the power of 1. So the cube root of 27 will be 3. A number that multiplies by itself 3 times gives you 27. That's 3 because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. For letter B, we are multiplying. Therefore, we are going to be adding the exponents. We have 1/3 plus 1/6. Remember, in order to be able to add two fractions, I need to have the same denominator, so I'll multiply the left by 2. That'll give me 2/6 plus 1/6. That gives me 3/6, which is equal to 1/2. I want to reduce my fractions to divide the top and the bottom by 3, gives you 1/2. Therefore, we have 25. 1/3 plus 1/6 is 1/2. I want to be able to do the same thing before as I did on number 2. I want to be able to rewrite it as a radical so I can simplify it. Now, some of you guys already know that this means that this is the square root of 25, which is 5. So if you don't want to rewrite it, if you can do it in your head, you can just write down equal to 5. Otherwise, the denominator is the root. This is the exponent, but because there's a 1, I don't need to write it down. And that gives me 5. For problem number 4, when we are dividing, we are going to be subtracting the exponents. The bases are the same, so I can subtract the exponents. That gives me 125. 7/3 minus 5/3 will give me 2/3. Right? 7 minus 5 is 2. The denominator will stay the same. Now I want to be able to rewrite it as a radical expression so I can simplify it. The 125 is inside. The 3 is the root, and we're going to raise it to the second power. The cube root of 125 is 5, to the second power is 25. Now, it's not always going to give you nice numbers. If you guys are not able to take the root of the number, then you can just leave it as is. You don't always have to come up with a nice number. For problem number 5. Problem number 5, I have an equation very similar to number 1. When I want to be able to get rid of the exponents, first I want to be able to isolate the x plus 4 to the 4th power. Therefore, I'm going to move my 4 to the right, becomes a positive 4. That is negative 3. X plus 4 to the 4th power is equal to negative 243. I still need to get rid of the negative 3. I cannot take the root yet. I'm going to divide by negative 3. Divide by negative 3. Double cancel. We have x plus 4 to the 4th power is equal to 81. Negative 243 divided by 3 is 81. If you're not sure, then just do the long division. 3 goes into 24, 8 times, 24, 0, 1 time, 81. Now I want to get rid of the exponent of 4, so I'm going to do the inverse operation. I'm going to take the root, the 4th root on both sides. Now many of you guys are not writing the little 4. You want to write down the little 4 because we're looking for a number that multiplied by itself 4 times gives you 81. So first I'm going to cancel the root, and the power of 4 cancels each other. Of x plus 4 is equal to a number that multiplied by itself 4 times gives you 81 will be 3. Not 9, but 3. And because this is an even root, it's going to be plus or minus. Last step is to move my 4 to the right, becomes a negative 4. So it'll be negative 4 plus or minus 3. I'm going to have two solutions. Negative 4 plus 3, which is negative 1. And negative 4 minus 3, which is negative 7. So my solutions is negative 1 and negative 7. Let's continue with problem number 5. Excuse me, number 6. On problem number 6, I want to be able to leave the term of this binomial that's being raised to the 4/3 by itself, so I can get rid of the exponents. Same process that we did on number 5. I'm not going to move my 8 to the right, becomes a positive 8. I'll have x plus 2 raised to the 4/3 is equal to 81. Now I want to get rid of the exponents. Now the exponent is a fraction, so I'm going to have to raise it to the power of the inverse. So I'm going to raise it to the power of 3 over 4. And what I do on one side, I need to do to the other side, raise it to the power of 3 over 4. This will cancel. I have x plus 2 is equal to, and I want to be able to rewrite this as a radical expression so I can simplify. So I have the radical 81. The 4 is the root, and it's going to be raised to the power of 3. I want to be able to simplify this. So we have x plus 2 is equal to, I'm looking for a number that multiplied by itself 4 times, gives me 81, and that'll be 3. So I have 3 to the 3rd power. 3 to the 3rd power will be 27. And now my last step is to move my 2 to the right, becomes a negative 2. Therefore I have x is equal to 25. Now let's continue with number 7 and 8. To factor, we have two types of factoring. When we have 4 terms, we want to be able to do it by grouping. So I'm going to group the first 2, I'm going to group the next 2. What can I factor out of the 25x to the third and the negative 15x squared? So one number divides 25 and 15, that'll be 5. I can also take out an x squared. So what do I need to multiply 5x squared to get 25x to the third? 5x. 5x squared times what is negative 15x squared? Negative 3. Now what can I take out of the 15x and minus 21? So one number divides 35 and 21. I want to take out a positive 7. Remember, the first number is negative, then you have to take out a negative 7. So what do I need to multiply 7 to get 35x? That'll be 5x. 7 times what is negative 21x, or 21 will be negative 3. Notice that these two should always be the same. 5x squared plus 7 in parentheses. Some of you guys are forgetting to place parentheses on this. And we have 5x minus 3. If you want to check your answer, you can always multiply it. Distribute the 5x squared to each one. You should get the first 2 terms. Distribute the 7 to each one, and you should get the last 2 terms. Now for number 8, we have a cube, and we have a minus in between. So we have the difference of 2 cubes. That's the one with an a and b. A, one number multiplied by 27, one number multiplied by itself 3 times gives you 27a cubed. That'll be 3a. One number multiplied by itself 3 times gives you negatives, or just 64c cubed. So the value of b will be 4c. I'm going to write down the formula above for those of you guys that don't remember it. It's a minus between, so the formula will be a minus b, then a squared plus ab plus b squared. Now I can plug it in. A minus b, so will be 3a minus 4c. A squared will be 3a times 3a will be 9a squared. If this is a positive, the next one's a positive. If this is a negative, the next one's a positive. A times b will be 3a times 4c will be 12ac. The last one is always positive. B squared will be 16c squared. So this will be my answer. Remember that you have to memorize your formula. For number 9, we have exponents with the variable e. Now, we know that e is 2.7, but as you guys can tell, we don't need to evaluate it. We just need to be able to simplify. First, you want to be able to simplify what's inside the parentheses. So, how many e's cancel? We have 1 on top, 2 on the bottom, so I can cancel one of them. So, this will be 2, cancel one of the e's, over e. We still have the negative 2 exponent. Now, because we have a negative exponent, we cannot rewrite it twice. There are different ways of solving this. Let's go and write the exponent for the 2. There has no exponent, so automatically there's a 1. And same thing for the e. When the exponent is outside the parentheses, we are going to multiply. So negative 2 times 1 gives me 2. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 for the e as well. If we have a negative exponent, we're going to switch it to the denominator. If this is a negative exponent, we're going to switch it to the numerator. So they get switched. We have e to the second power over 2 to the positive 2 power. 2 to the second power is equal to 4. So we have e squared over 4. And my answer will be letter